On this James the Bike Guy, we're taking a look at the 2019 Trek 520 disc. The Trek 520 is the longest running model in Trek's lineup, and it is a well-respected and well-known option for touring. The 520 is basically built as a tank to be able to hold up for long hauls, and it's got a whole bunch of features to it that's going to make this a really durable touring rig. Now, if you look anywhere on the internet, this is usually one of the first picks for somebody trying to get a touring bike and get into touring. So let's go over some of the features that's involved on the 2019 version and talk about some of the upgrades. Now, the first thing to talk about is the steel frame. So this frame is new for this year. So the Trek 520 being one of the longest running models, so the 2019 Trek 520 has a couple of changes over previous generations of the 520. But what it does remain with is a steel frame, and this has Trek's butted chromoly tubing on this frame. And then it's also going to be a disc brake frame. The disc brakes are new for the current generation of 520. All the previous versions have all been a rim brake version. But Trek felt that with disc brakes becoming more common, that it's time to move the Trek 520 into a disc brake format, which allows it to have even more carrying capacity and arguably a lot less maintenance when you're out on the roads. Now, the fork, that's another change for this year. Typically, this has been a chromoly fork, but this year, they've gone to an aluminum fork. So you actually save some weight up front, but you still maintain all the mounting points for racks and fenders and things like that. Also on the fork, this has something that they call a through skew. What a through skew is basically a skewer on the front that acts like a through axle, so it's closed on the disc brake side, and that allows for the front wheel not to have the risk of ever coming undone when you're riding. Now, speaking of wheels, this is coming with a Shimano M475 front hub as well as an M475 rear hub. These are an absolutely awesome hub set for the bike because they're cup and cone bearings, standard J-pull spokes, and going to be a really durable build. The rims that are attached to this are the Affinity TLR rims. This is a tubeless ready 36-hole rim that's nice and wide and going to be really supportive to these Bontrager H1 hardcase tires that come in a 700 by 38C. The drivetrain on the bike is a build of a mix between Sora for your front derailleur and then an Olivio triple crankset. The triple crankset on this bike is a 48, 36, 26, so nice wide gear range. And then on the back, this is actually going to be running Shimano's Olivio, which is mountain bike drivetrain with a Shimano HG200 1136 cassette. Something that's a bit controversial on the 2019 version is it's actually coming with shift and brake levers rather than bar end shifters. So that means that this does have a traditional road bike style shift and brake lever. Of course, it's running Sora, and Sora being 9-speed is the last generation of where you could mix road and mountain componentry. So you get kind of the best of both worlds and gearing on the bike, and you get these shift and brake levers. This was another place where Trek believed that shift and brake levers like this are so common now that if you're out on the road and you do have an issue, that it's going to be just as easy to get these replaced as an old traditional bar end shifter. Now lastly, let's talk about these racks. So these are some very awesome Bontrager racks. You can see that they're well put together, and it's nice to see that the Trek 520 comes stock with the racks. Previous generations, you would be buying your own racks, whereas it's awesome to see that the current generation comes stock with the racks and everything that you need. Well, now that we've taken a look at some of the features on this Trek 520 disc, let's go ahead, lift it up on a scale, and we'll see just what it weighs. So the Trek 520 disc comes in at 31.5 pounds. Thanks for watching this video on the Trek 520 disc. Go ahead and let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, hit the subscribe button so you can see more videos like this into the future. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button.